welcome all to our bi-weekly update, where we keep you in tune with what we're thinking over the last couple of weeks and maybe what you should pay attention to on a go-forward basis as well. So today, Go Big is the fact that it's spring, that we had a spring break, if you will, and jumped right back into winter, at least here in Wisconsin. So I enjoy the weather, enjoy the variableness, family trips and vacations, the little stories that we tell, the laughs we have, fine travel, if you will, health. Those are all things that I'm grateful for in my Go Big today. How about yourself, Zach?
Yeah, thank you, Chris. Always a lot to be thankful for, but today specifically, I'm extremely grateful for celebrating the wins of others. I was never blessed with brothers by blood, but I have been in life. And recently, within the last month, 3 of my extremely close friends that are now brothers and family to me, one just bought a new house, the other's getting married on my birthday exactly a month from now. The other one, we just found out the sex of their baby that's due in August yesterday. So it's extremely fun to celebrate the wins of people that you love and you care about.
Awesome. Thank you, Zach. How about yourself, Mr. Flannery?
Good morning, everybody. Great to be here with you all. Mine is for our nutritionist that we have on retainer for you all. Her name is Michelle Norris. I think some of you know who that is. She's a quick response. So if you have a quick question, I've asked her about my sugar intake and she said it was way too high. And so we've been able to adjust that. And I'm really grateful for her because she's able to coach me a little bit, and also my wife, Sarah, on some of the, eat this, not that. Remember that book that came out, Eat This, Not That? And just those small little tweaks, I think, make a big difference. So I'm a month into it. I gave sugar up for Lent, but also I think it's going to be more of a lifestyle change as well, not just for a time frame. So I'm grateful for Michelle Norris being there for us when she said she was going to be there for us. So
outstanding. Thank you, Ken. I appreciate that as well. So a couple of things today for me as I go through. Let's talk about war. Let's talk about inflation. Let's talk about the Oscars. Let's talk about recovery, spring break, gas prices. And that actually reminds me. So when you go to the gas pump now, are you like sweating when you head to the gas pump? Like feeling sick when you see the total? Well, you have coronavirus. It's a new virus they've come out with. It's being diagnosed. The CDC is going to come out with some of the recommendations, but it's a big issue going on right now at the gas pump, coronavirus, at any rate. Good dad joke if you want to tell it. You may have heard it before, but hey, you heard it from me first if you didn't. A lot of what is going on as well, I think, is there's some strong mindsets. I noticed when we travel, there's people I think need to get back into the practice of being cordial. I've noticed that several times now, and I'm beginning to see some reparations from some people being able to get out and socialize as well. So we're seeing some strong new recovery as we go through. There's a lot of things happening in tax law, some sunsetting provisions, a lot of talks as well, but a lot of the distraction now has gone directly to what's happening in Ukraine, and unfortunately some of the humanitarian crisis that's ensuing from that as well, which has become unfortunately all too familiar with countries that we've seen. So again, we support them and all the humanitarians and the people who are disrupted, who really have no say in the war other than they're being affected by it. So you've been affected by it. We all have with prices, but others with their very lives and the homes that they live in. So our hearts and prayers go out to those of you who have relatives or are from Ukraine as well. So today we have a couple of different sections. I have Zach's Facts. I have Ken's Corner, spelled with 2 Ks. I enjoy that part, Ken. That's just for you. But those are 2 sections I'm naming this for. And then we'll have the most important portion of what we do by one of our lovely hosts, who's Jen. I call her just Jenny, which is pretty funny. That's how I first met her 2 or 3 years ago. So even though her name is Jen Podolak, I call her just Jenny, which is quite funny still. Anyway, so that's how I know her. And very grateful as well for me today. One more gratitude is just for the team members that we have here. We've had some great discussions lately about trust. And one of the biggest questions we asked, and this may be a good one for you, who trusted you and how did that change your life? For instance, I think I told the story last time, but I want to reiterate it. Frank Dorsack. Frank Dorsack is somebody you guys probably all know, extremely famous because he was the complex manager at a prestigious firm downtown that let a kid in from the Midwest who used to be in telecommunications. He also called that kid into a corner office and said, "Who do you work for?" The kid thinking he's going to be praised because he's hitting the National Sales Director Award as a rookie. And instead, he was asked that question and said, "Well, I work for the clients who've decided to work with me." He goes, "Wrong. You work for Morgan Stanley. You need to sell the products we have." And that started a journey of being independent, working for you as clients. So I have tremendous gratitude for Frank Dorsack. He is unfortunately passed. I have let him know to reach out that I really, really appreciate the trajectory of my life to become a retirement planner, to gather the team we have to work with you. But that's one of the people who trusted me in a sea of kids. He chose me and trusted me to get into this industry, and very fortunately changed my path in life to be able to help you. So I realize how important that is. I want to lift up the Frank Dorsack story and give that to you. But I want to know if you guys have any stories about who trusted you and inspired you. I think that's a great one. So I'll begin today with how important trust is in your life, and the fact that if you give trust, you're going to receive trust in return. It's an upward spiral. If you are distrustful to people, you're going to receive distrust. It's a downward spiral. They're both spirals. This comes from the book that's coming out that I can't really quote yet, but it is called Trust and Inspire, which comes out next week on Friday, I believe it is, on the 5th. By Stephen M.R. Covey, who we've had the fortune of having this book for about a month and a half. And I've read it just about every day, and I'm only 2/3 through because every page has about 42 dog-eared notes on it. It's a great book. Just really reminds me of how I really always getting better, all the little things we can do to do so. So, excuse me, with that, I'm going to pass it over to Zach's facts. Now, Zach, you really don't have to tell facts. You can give things an opinion as well. But I just like the fact that it rhymes. So, Zach, with that, I'll turn it over to you.
Love it. Thank you, Chris. And really, as one of the things that you mentioned that we're going to touch on today is recovery. And that's really the emphasis here on the market side of things. The S&P 500 for the year, temporarily down 2.82%, but an 8% recovery just in the last 2 weeks. The Dow Jones, temporarily down 2.87%, but a 5% recovery in the last 2 weeks. And the biggest recovery that we've seen across the different indexes was on the NASDAQ, because the NASDAQ, as if you remember, is 50% weighted towards technology, temporarily down 6.55% on the year, but over 10% positive in the last 2 weeks. And if you remember from a few of our webinars a couple of weeks ago and a month or so ago, it temporarily reached a bear market of temporarily down 20% or more. So on the Russell 2000, which tracks small caps and mid-sized companies, temporarily down 5% on the year, but positive 7% in the last 2 weeks. The growth portion had the second biggest growth over the last 2 weeks, temporarily still down 10% on the year, but positive 9% in the last 2 weeks alone. The value side is almost positive of small cap companies. The Russell Value Index is 0.01%, so still the disparity between growth and value on the small company side of things, and 6% increase in the last 2 weeks on small cap value. International side, temporarily down 5.31% on the year, but a 5% recovery in the last 2 weeks alone. Emerging markets still temporarily down 8.83, but 4% increase in the last 2 weeks. So really, when we looked at that, we looked at what you often hear from us is the beauty of rebalancing, which we really saw once again just over the last 2 weeks and the last month. If we did any rebalances to start the year to raise income, if you're already retired or just part of our annual process, a lot of those companies that were bought during that rebalance had the biggest upside in the last 2 weeks and the last month as well. If you're still working, it's exactly why we keep those contributions going, if not increase them during times of volatility, because you really take advantage of those upside swings, especially in a short amount of time, because we don't know when they're coming. We just wanted to give a real quick update on the fixed income side of things before we pass it back to Chris as well. We've heard about rates being increased and on a schedule to be increased throughout the year. On the 1-year Treasury, 1.60% current yield. It's a 0.5 increase in the last month and a half. On the 3-year, 2.55, which is a 0.7 increase in the last month and a half. The 5-year, 2.57, about 0.6% increase. And on the 10-year Treasury, 2.49, or a 0.2% increase in the last year and a half. With that, Chris, I'll pass it back to you.
That was Zach. So I'm just trying to get all those numbers again. So it's 0.6, 0.2, 0.5. Okay, good. I got it. I think I got that as well.
But
I found an
increase.
Increase. Good. That's excellent. Also, what's increasing is mortgage rates. So you're starting to see people as well. I was just in Florida, and what's astounding is I don't know about you, but I'm a Zillow kind of a monger, which it basically means that when I go places on my phone, my daughter sits in the back of the car with a phone that's on Zillow to tell us the price of the houses that we're driving by. So the one she very much liked this time was $25.8 million. But the good news is 3 years ago, it was $15 million. So what you could have seen, if you'd have bought it, you'd have made 10 million bucks and then you could have retired. I said, Samantha, the problem is you needed to have the $15 million to buy it. She said, that won't be a problem. So it's quite funny to have those conversations in the car. She's my real estate mogul who has yet to own real estate, who's 13 anyway. It's quite funny. But I tend to look at it myself. I think real estate in Southern Florida went up 31% in the last year, projected to go up 19% this year. I've just read an article today about housing. So I'll put housing in here because housing is one of the most underbuilt markets we've ever been in. So why are prices going up? Number one, it's replacement value of real estate, as well as the fact that we've been underbuilding for the past 12 years since 2009 to 2007, if you will. So a lot of home builders went out of business, quit building, but we haven't built enough for replacement value. And also for all the millennials moving into neighborhoods as well. So there's a lot going on, a lot of transition, still a lot needed with housing. And even here in Mequon, this sleepy little town of Mequon or Ozaukee County, last year was up 21%. This year is projected to be up 19% because there's a massive lack of inventory. One of our real estate, so we do the center of influence discussion. One of our center of influence people, who's a real estate agent, said she had a phone call unsolicited from a couple in California who bought a $1.2 million home here to get out of the expenses and the traps that are in California. Sight unseen, moved here to Wisconsin in a $1.2 million home. That's kind of crazy. What we're not seeing yet, though, is normal at ends of market. You're seeing people sell all real estate, sell everything to jump in and become day traders in the market. So there's still some indicators out there that may indicate we're not at the end of a bull market, just in a pause. Anyway, there's a whole bunch of perspective I'd like to add, and I usually do. I'll try to temper that portion as well because we do want to get to Ken's corner as well and really get to some of the most important things that we have today. Mike won't be joining us. He's out this week as well. We've been doing a ton of research, though. We'll talk more about that. Maybe get a double dose next time of Mike's Minute. Maybe we'll give Mike 2 minutes. So I'm into this rhyming thing right now. I don't know if it's poetry or what. But Mike's Minute doesn't really rhyme, but it sounds good. I like those labels, if you will. It's kind of fun. So as we go forward here, what I want to do is Ken's Corner has some awesome, great tips, usually some great facts, sometimes even a great little chart brought up here. But Ken, what do you have for us today?
Yeah, absolutely, Chris. Thank you very much. And so you bring up an interesting question: who has trusted me? And so I have actually have a folder story, it's called. And so about 18, almost 19 years ago, a client walks into the office and says he's got a folder, and he puts it down on the desk and he says, "Hey, I'm retiring on Friday." I said, "Tim, today's Tuesday." He goes, "I know, I need some help." And so what we did is we opened up the folder. In there was the Social Security, was the 401ks, was the IRAs, was the estate planning, was the taxes, everything that goes into an overall plan. I said, "Is anybody helping you with this, Tim?" And he goes, No. I said, "Well, let's sit down. Let's put all the pieces together and put together a plan for you." And that's how we got into the journey of retirement planning almost 19 years ago already. So, and that's just a story for the personal side for me. But so Tim entrusted me in that situation to get into retirement planning. So I appreciate you, Chris, for bringing that up. It's always a unique one to talk about. So speaking of planning, QCDs are still coming up in meetings. I love it. It's fun to uncover some opportunities for you all. If you're willing to share your gifting strategies or gifting wishes or what you're currently doing, with your money on the gifting side, we'd love you to share it with us because we just uncovered a few more situations where we're able to save hundreds, if not thousands of dollars of taxes just by thinking about it just a little bit differently and taking advantage of some of the tax laws that are out there. So if you're willing to, please share it with us. We'd love to hear about it as well. The other one is connections. That's been a kind of a common word, if you will, in the last couple of years here at Genting is connections. And what I'm learning in these meetings is that we have about 4 or 5 people that really want to travel. They just don't know who to travel with right now. And so if that's you and you're looking to travel, let us know, and maybe we can do some sort of connections there. So as far as taxes go, the Secure Act is a big one. The Secure Act is a big one, meaning that there is some regulations out there now on the inherited IRAs that we need to take a look at. And we just read it last night. Actually, I have it here in front of me right here. And it really comes down to who you inherited it from and what their ages were when they passed, actually. So we need to look at that. If that really applies to you guys, we're gonna take a look at that. We'll let you know. It's really a one-off situation, but I want to bring it up because it is a law now. So with that being said, I'll hand it back over to Chris.
Awesome. Thanks again. I really don't have anything else to say. So why don't you just keep going? I'm just messing with you. I'm just messing with you. So a couple of different things. I appreciate that. I know the massive tax law change, if you will, for inheriting money is very confusing. It used to be wildly confusing when I first got in the business 26 years ago. And then they completely simplified it down to really two things. If you're less than 10 years older than your spouse, or if you're more than 10 years older. And now they've recomplexified it. That's a new word that Ken's been studying, recomplexify. I think that's an IRS term. They haven't defined it yet, but that's really what's out there. It's absolutely crazy, if you will, as we go through. Something interesting as well, and I just recently was looking at this. I mean, the beautiful month we have coming up here is just about to end. It's March. It maybe came in like a lion or out like a lamb for you. We don't know. It's going to be ending, if you will, here. And Friday's our first day of, and prepare for some good jokes that day as well, because of course it's April Fool's Day. But what I looked at, I had a question for you. Does February like March? Anybody? Does February like March? No, but April, May. So it's just kind of a good calendar joke for your kids. I very much enjoy that one as well. But hilariously, I love the dad jokes, if you know. The fun thing, I was talking with clients recently, and one of my clients was mentioning, Chris, I'm going to bury some money out in the garden. I'm like, so what? You're going to bury money? He goes, yeah, I'm going to bury my money. Things aren't so bad. This war will end. We'll get past this too. He said, no. It's not that things are so bad. Turns out he's a gardener and he wanted to make his soil rich. I don't know what you say to that, but sometimes people bring you those things and you think they're not joking. Fortunately, he was. But another good one as well as you run through. A couple of things I want to do though on the set of, on the bigger picture is the couple of things I've been through. I just was yesterday, 2 days ago, able to talk with Joy Tan. She was the head of communications for Huawei, the biggest electronics maker in the world, who's in Shenzhen, China, which is right now shut down due to coronavirus, which is kind of an interesting portion. She just recently quit, if you will, Huawei after 14 years to actually help two companies who are about 5 to 10 years out in the China area as well with how to market their products or how to grow within the United States and the rest of the world as well. So very interesting conversation, but we had great conversations about the environment in both China, most likely Russia as well, and about really what's happening with some of the younger people and what China's doing with education. They want to make education affordable. They are a communist country. They believe in spreading the wealth. So every once in a while, when they create oligarchs, really super rich people, they want to tear those down. And when those super rich people like Jack Ma begin criticizing the government, they specifically look to tear down that company and their wealth because that takes their platform away. So that's what's happening. Now, the Chinese inside the country really want access to Google, Amazon, Facebook, all of these different things that we have. They don't have it. They've got their own version, and China keeps a very tight hold on those. So like a lot of you have thought, and I think there's probably 2/3 of the population who are waiting for whatever regime to change or forcing that regime to change for more representation, more freedom. They crave it. It was interesting, a great conversation. There's a lot more that came from it in the electronics industry and how basically just-in-time delivery for semiconductors was a great thing until everybody starts hoarding. And that's what's happened right now with the supply chain that we've got as well. So Joy's a great resource that I met at Abundance 360. So with her, I get to be a scout and go out and find out things that maybe we should know, some of the different environments that are occurring, and really what is the major. We may hear things on the news, but I always like to verify that. I like to look at facts or talk to somebody who's actually working with people in the trenches, if you will. And she was. Another one we had recently on Friday, I was able to go to, Friday a week ago, I was able to go to Strategic Coach down in Chicago for the first time in 2 years. We were able to get together in person. Now, that may not seem like a whole big deal, but interestingly, one day beforehand, that they had a program, 3 days beforehand, they had their first program they had in 2 years. It was 7 people showed up. Ours 3 days later was 44. So it was interesting to watch how people at first were uncomfortable, now very comfortable coming back. It was wonderful. The energy in the room, the dynamics of having 40 other entrepreneurs, all from completely different industries, sharing ideas and talking about our intent, what it is we intend to do, what programs, what shortcuts we create, what platforms really might be, and who you might want to collaborate with to make better decisions for you as clients, really was what our focus was on. We really had a wonderful, wonderful time. And it's an opportunity for the whole day to think about how we can get better in the business and to bring that back for our team to be able to do as well. So very, very much enjoyed that as well. There's several other things that we've done too. I've read a couple other books, Smart Trust, and of course I read the Bible almost every day as well. But a lot of things have been influential here. And what I've been taking time to do is reflect on the things that are really most important. And it is, I think, as Ken said, as Zach said, as many have said too, it's the communication and relationships that make your life rich. More and more studies we read show that happiness is the single biggest factor of success. And what adds to happiness most? Connected relationships, social media, one-on-one in person, those count. So remember, I think I'd said in the book, Love Your Enemies, there was a great study that showed if you lose a friend, it's like losing $100,000 of income. So I'd say maybe now it's time to gain a friend, gain $100,000 in income, or at least the happiness that goes with it. One last portion that I've noticed in a lot of our meetings and a lot of our conversations with people outside. I've been in the business 25 years now. There's something magic about 25 years, I think, as I've been studying how to do what we do better for 25 years. And the magic becomes people really ask for your advice and they really mean it. And other people who are successful will stop you and say, hey, I got some questions. What's interesting here, the one question that most don't have an answer to is, what is your purpose beyond retirement? They really want to retire and they've really worked hard on that game beforehand. But once they hit that line of what they call retirement, they don't really know what's next. Money may be fine. That's the planet. That's what we work on. The live it side of the equation is a portion that we really want to work on with people. So there's really two major aspects, and I'm actually beginning to invert the importance. Financial is fine. We can get by. We can figure that out. But what I want to make sure people know is retirement's not the finish line when it comes to purpose. Be very careful that your purpose is still delineated after you no longer have a job title, because your grandkids will grow up, they'll get busy, they may not have enough time to spend with you. So questions I do like to ask is, what makes you tick? Why do you like to get up in the morning? On your best day, what does that look like? And these kind of questions begin to derive probably 15 to 20 questions that are in an idea I'm having, which is we might put together a purpose-driven seminar, which is just to discover your purpose or rediscover your purpose or your passion. Something I'd like to put on for you, because it is the most important. If you don't have anything to live for, it's very difficult to be excited about living. I want to make sure that even if you believe you don't, I can help you discover that you do and raise the importance and appreciation of that, because I found that the life portion of what we do, the live it and purpose, is what we all seek. We all want to have meaning in life. So it's so important. I want to make sure that we can rediscover that. So there may be some online, there may be some in-person here as well, whichever you're comfortable with. But I know it's such an incredibly important equation to quote retirement, and a successful one, that I want to be purposeful about it. I've been fortunate enough to find some fantastic resources with it. Most of those resources also are you and your sharing. And there's a few committed, passionate individuals who have shared with us incredible ideas. We then get to bring to you some great questions and ideas as well. And it may not happen for you right away, but I'll tell you what, with intent and purpose, my intent is to help you live the best life you can. That's my only intent. If you want to bring a friend who doesn't work with us, I'm fine. A goal in our life is to help you, your friends, and your family live the life you intend to and want to. Sometimes it just takes a catalyst to help you do it. We're willing to be that. We're going to invest the time in it. So you'll see more details. They won't be immediate, but we'll be looking at the ways to do this. And if you're interested, let us know. I know it's a hard thing to say. It's a very difficult thing to do. And you can feel, it's a very close thing. Sometimes it held to your best, but I tell you, it can be very cathartic. And I think it's going to be, from what I've heard that we've talked to already, one of the most important things that we can help you with. So with that, I want to pass it to some of the most important things that you should be paying attention to from just Jenny. Jenny, why don't you tell us what's going on and what we need to pay attention to over the next couple of weeks, because you guys create some phenomenal pieces, including our all of the different pieces we send out in our newsletters. So they're fantastic. So what should we be paying attention to?
Thank you. Phenomenal team around me doing all of that great stuff for you guys. Yes, so April, we are coming into April. It's wet. I hope it dries out soon. But we kick off the month with April Fool's Day. Should give you some opportunity to have a bit of fun, a good, clean, kind fun. On April 13th, we have our very next bi-weekly update. So if you enjoyed the content today, be sure to click your bulletin and register for our next session. On that same day, we're going to have Gentine professional development. So it gives us some limited office hours, but it's important to our team to help us stay at the front of our game for you. April 15th, we see the markets are going to close as well as our office in observance of Good Friday. So we won't be available for that. And then April 20th, these are our birthday clubs. If you haven't made one, that means you haven't had your birthday yet, but they're picking up in popularity. So look for your invitation in the mail as well as the bulletin. We just bring you here, have lunch. It's a ton of fun. And then we have another bi-weekly update on April 27th. And then that takes us into our spring technology forum. So this is one of the most exciting things we do as a company. It's over 2 days because we have 2 locations. So choose your location. We have Neenah, Wisconsin and Blue Mountain Country Club. So the 3rd and the 4th, we're going to go over regular market updates and information, but then we're also going to cover a ton of really great technology information, advancements and investments. And that carries us through into May.
Awesome. Thank you very much. I'm sorry you had to put up with us for the 23 minutes or 27 minutes before you got to find out what was important from Jenny, but thank you for your patience of getting through us so you could hear what was important. I really appreciate that. What I want to end on today isn't necessarily a high and happy note, but I want to talk about something that I'm wildly grateful that you have allowed us to do. This last week, we were able to attend a funeral of one of our great longtime clients and be there with somebody who really needed some care. And what I felt was an overwhelming sense of gratitude. I also have a very high emotional EQ. So the sadness that occurs from the family there, oftentimes to me, it comes to me. If somebody's sad there and crying, I'll have a tear, shed a tear as well. And I did. But what you'll notice here is the immense gratitude of us and what we've shared in life and some of the intimate things that you've shared and experiences over time, over our relationship, that being there feels very natural. It feels like we have been together in a relationship, and meeting every quarter or 5 or 6 times a year during different events has really meant a lot to me personally, our team, I know as well, but most importantly, hopefully your family, being a resource there that many people have mentioned that has been one of the more important things in life. And that's incredible humility. I say that, but when people say that, it just almost brings a little bit of a tear to my eye. You don't recognize the impact you have. And what I want to tell you is this also applies to you. I want to thank you for the impact you have had on us. You may think it's minimal. It's not. You change the very course of our lives. The trust you give us and have given us, we take very seriously. It drives what we do. It's what keeps us around late. It's what wakes us up early reading books and always getting better. You help give our lives purpose to help you. I want to make sure that you understand that and your effect on us, because it's real. We talk about it and it's completely sincere. We win awards, we get the awards for them, whatever, but I want to really make sure that you understand these are yours. We apply for them for you to be mentioned in Forbes or Barron's or whatever else. And whatever they rank, that's yours. We accept on your behalf, and this is yours. But it's your trust that helps us most and has really helped change the trajectory of our lives. We continue to commit to that for you. I've been in the business 25 years. Maybe we'll do some celebratory program about that or not, but I commit to another 25 years of in some great way being able to help and affect you have the best retirement you possibly can. When it comes to the planet, our team is one of the best. When the people have told us, when it comes to the live it side of the equation, we want to continue to get better. I don't know anybody who's doing it now, but the live it side is a big focus on us. And to many of you, the give it side is going to be extremely important because you have been fortunate enough to be thrifty, save, and do everything you want and still have more money than you need. So it's been, how do we give that properly and appropriately as well? So at Gentine, really over time, the planet, live it, give it has become stronger and stronger. All 3 notions, all 3 ideas are paramount to what it is we do and offer. But most importantly, again, it's all about trust amongst us here as the team, amongst you here as clients, amongst all of us together as an organization. We thank you. And I want to tell you our gratitude goes out to you. So with that, this week, continue to offer people hope. Continue, and more importantly, I'm going to leave this with a challenge this week. Who can you go out and trust right now? More importantly, I'm going to go back to something. The person who trusted you, that helped change your life, do they know how it affected you? I challenge you to go back and thank them. Find them or their kids or anybody and thank them and let them know the difference it made in your life. That And secondly, go out and find somebody you can trust and inspire. With that, I want to thank you for this end of March program. I really appreciate it. We look forward to seeing you in the month of April. And any of you who have any questions, always feel free again to reach out. Thank you tremendously, and we look forward to meeting you and seeing you here in the future. From us all here at Gentian, signing out, and high five. Thank you.